When it comes to fandom, there's no limit to how much or how dedicated one will become for their favorites. Along those lines, the artist has to find new and fresh ways to entice and insatiate the thirst for more. In comes the special edition. That pretty and glossy trophy chock full of Easter eggs and extras, the likes no collector could have ever imagined. But for independents, the cost is great, and the demand is greater. So, how do we get enough juice out of that squeeze? This is what we will discuss today. Then, C.L. Cannon will be along with indie books you might enjoy if you're a fan of Rebecca by Daphne de Mornay. After we lay out the Go Indie Minute and tell you what's on tap for the network, we will blurb some special books from our panelists in the epilogue. So, hold on to your precious and get ready, your sisters, for This Week in Indies with your host, Joe Compton. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to This Week in Indies. I am, in fact, your host, Joe Compton, and I'm real excited about this episode. We've got a really great group here to talk about special editions, and I just want to remind everybody while you're here, if you're in the Facebook area, please do send us a star and let us know how the hosts and producers appreciate you, how much you appreciate what they do here at Go Indie Now. Every time you contribute, you get entered into our season-ending gift card package, which is one lucky winner will receive an Amazon gift card or Visa gift card. I've amended that. I should rewrite that a little bit, just in case you don't want to support the Zon, which I totally understand. I will give you a Visa one if you'd like, $25. And you'll also get a $25 Bandcamp gift card if you're a fan of indie music, or a $25 drive-thru RPG gift card if you're a fan of indie gaming, one or the other. A Go Indie Now t-shirt or mug, and a selection of ebooks from hosts at Go Indie Now. All of that can be won pretty easily because right now I don't have an entrant to the competition. So all you have to do is send a star, and you'll be automatically entered. And the more stars you send, the more you'll have likelihood you'll win. And especially right now because you'd be the only one. But other than that, welcome to our show. We've got a great show, like I said before you, and we've got a lot of people here already. We'll get to the comments in just a second, but first we'll bring in our dais here and say hello to everybody. Look at that. It stayed intact for once in my life. All right. I didn't have to move people around. Everybody's in their proper spot, I should say.
The ghost of John.
And the ghost of John, yeah. Hopefully, Mr. Hardness, I think he's having some internet problems. So hopefully he'll be with us here eventually. But for now, we'll just go with what we got, and which is awesome to me. And we're going to start off saying hello. So, Lily, why don't you start us off, please?
Hi, everyone. I am Lily Lucchesi. I am a USA Today bestselling author of urban fantasy and paranormal mysteries. And I also write dark romance as S.L. Sinclair and contemporary romance as Samantha Kelcott. In addition to that, I am a professional editor and the co-founder and owner of Partners in Crime Book Services.
All right, Mr. J. Estrada.
Greetings, fellow humans. It's been a while since I was on Go Indie Now. Happy to be here. I'm an indie author from Puerto Rico, back in Puerto Rico. Talk about that more in my channels later. But for now, I write a bunch of books in a bunch of genres. I enjoy myself, and there will be a lot more coming through.
Awesome. All right, Ariel.
Hi, I'm Ariel Dawn. I'm a USA Today bestselling author, best known for my Monsters of Ashwood series. I write a little bit of everything under the sun, from monster romance, paranormal romance, contemporary romance, all under Ariel, but I do have other pen names as well. And so, yeah, that's me.
Awesome. All right. And the chat's blowing up with a lot of hellos. So, we got JD breaking the fourth wall, Anita here, A.L. Mangle's here. I saw Sean here earlier. Yep, there's Sean. There's Ariel breaking the fourth wall. That's my precious. Cheers. Hi, and JD saying hello, and then saying everyone, nice crowd. Yes, very nice crowd. As always, we're very happy to have you all here. And we'd love to hear from you and hear what you have to say about this topic. I'm a little thrown because John was going to be my first question. I was going to talk to John, but he's not here, so we'll just keep going. But I'll throw this out to the panel. I am curious. When is it the right time for you all? When do you feel like a special edition should be coming? Do you have a set time? Do you have a set idea? Do you have a set? Is it a matter of demand? Where does the special edition fall for you all in terms of when you think about it's time to put that out there into the world?
We have to have a plan.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, dopamine.
I did have to have a plan, because if I didn't have a plan, I was going to be absolutely horrified. So I want to start off by saying that I thought special editions were extremely intimidating, and I didn't want to do them at all. They terrified me to no end. But then I wound up being the editor for Russell Nolte's book on Kickstarters, which was part of the Author Success Path. It's still out there. It's available. So being able to read that and being able to dive deep into it and ask those questions, like if there was something that I wasn't understanding, because again, as a developmental editor, I had to make sure people understood what Russell was trying to say. Because I'm reading that, I'm like, I can do this, but I still needed a reason because I was still terrified. And so my reason was the 10th anniversary of my debut happened.
That's gorgeous.
Earlier this year.
Such a pretty
I'm gonna do it. This is all happening to me. Like, I got the book to edit. I figured I could do it. My anniversary was coming up. I'm like, okay, let's go. So yeah, that was the plan initially. Now I'm actually launching on the 21st, my second special edition, which it doesn't need a special reason at all. It just exists because I want it to.
Nice.
No, I kind of feel that, because that's kind of how I started when I did the Monsters of Ashwood special edition. I did it mostly because this series was complete, and I had just transitioned from my day job into like writing full time. So I wanted to kind of like do this big thank you, because it was my big series. But I was also extremely intimidated by the whole Kickstarter thing, thinking like it was so in depth, and it was like, going to take much more brain power than I had. And so before I released it, I probably worked on it for about a full year, asking questions, reading resources, talking to other authors. How did they do it? The budget part of it, which was extremely, stressful for me to figure out, and how to fund all this artwork, and how to, get the fancy covers and all of that. And then once I went through with the first one, kind of the same thing. Now I have two other ones running, and I just decided to do them because it was just, I thought they would make good special editions. One is a limited release where it'll be only released on Kickstarter. And then the other one is a re-release of a story that I had in an anthology, and I'm making it into a limited edition, special edition Kickstarter. So, and I just decided to do those because they felt like they were the right avenue for it. So, but the first one took me about a whole year before I even decided to do it.
Interesting. I have a different perspective in terms of what I consider a special edition. So, and it has come forth for different reasons. First reason is because I see my table and I go like, I'm running out of space, man. I have to help myself out. And also thinking about people, thinking about, shelf space and, bang for your buck. So, first poetry collection, Between the Tides. Second poetry collection, Dark Strands. Third collection, Captured Moments. Fourth collection, Black Tie. You see the pattern of me just going with anything that inspires. Fifth collection, Relay of Rhymes. I go like, okay.
The big reveal, everybody.
No. I go.
You want a drum roll?
No. So this is that, and then I had another bilingual collection that had poetry, and I was like, I want to have most of my poetry in one place. And then I had the Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore, and there's poetry there. And I'm like, okay, so why don't we do like one big book?
Collection. Mm-hmm.
And just keep it simple. Keep the price of the ebook accessible. Have it one book. And when I tell people, it's like all of these are here, plus there's more here. They go like, oh yeah, and it helps you. It helps you. First off, help your reader. Second off, give more visibility to all your work. So that's one special edition. The other special edition is 2020. This is a bilingual collection. It's got short stories, essays, and poetry in both languages, plus a bilingual poem that rhymes in the middle. What happens? Some people read in English, some people read in Spanish, some people do not read the other way. So I started with the all English version, 2020. And I'm working on the Spanish version for next year, because next year it's my 10th anniversary with 2020. And I just want to celebrate being bilingual that way, and also give something to my exclusively Spanish speaking people and readers, so that they can read it. Because I've been asked, are you going to translate this, or are you going to translate that? Depends on how big of a lift. Translating the human cycle. if I win the Powerball and I don't have to do anything for a year, I'll do it. And people go like, why don't you use ChatGPT? And I'm like, because it's not going to work. And in Google Translate, it's not going to work. And I got to do it so that I feel that it's worthwhile.
I can't believe they would add. I guess that people don't really know what you do for a living, but
well,
translate. I can't believe they would say it to you, of all people.
Okay.
Use ChatGPT.
Okay, I'm going to be very succinct with this. Not everything translates, and when I say that, not only language, but circumstances and the things that happen. There's one short story in 2020 that I basically had to rewrite, because if you just did a direct translation, you lost. There's things in the Spanish story that are in English, and the speaker is talking about how a Spanish teacher would always correct him. So I had to take that entire part of the story out and add something else. So basically, there are two different stories of the same main plot, and that was a very interesting exercise. And that's going to happen when I go from English to Spanish, just because of the nature of language and context. And lastly, the third situation is because I love this project, and that's why I have a picture of that behind me in our mosaic. The daydreams, people aren't super sold on short stories. So basically, I'm going to take the world that I've created in the short stories that I have in these two collections, and I'm going to do novels from now on. And I consider that a special edition. And I don't know if I'll ever try to transform the short stories here into a full narrative, because that would kind of go against the soul of it. But the world and how this series will behave will completely change, and it will be a completely new edition. So I consider that a special edition too.
Plus, it jumps timelines, and it's very, I want to start with you on this, because you brought something up, JD, that I think I want to talk about a lot. And Ariel and Lily, please jump in afterwards. With the special edition, and special edition doesn't necessarily mean pretty book with foil things and beautiful things.
I want to cuddle Lily's book. It's gorgeous, by the way.
It is gorgeous.
You should see Monsters of Ashwood. Monsters of Ashwood is freaking gorgeous as well. Both of them are beautiful. And the box that they come in, pretty cool too, that I've seen. But I think they both come in boxes, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. Anyway, the idea of special edition, though, is that you're giving something that you've already produced out to the world, to somebody who may either have been a fan of that piece or fan of you that has never experienced that piece before. But you mentioned this, and I think this is a really poignant idea about the special edition, is that it has to contain things that didn't exist before those pieces were out individually. And when you're combining them, you have to put something in there to give to the reader. Is that when you put that together, was that something you were thinking about? How do I give this an extra special oomph?
So for the English version of 2020, I included a piece that only exists in the English version, just to give a reason for that. But I felt more comfortable doing the translation of the work there than I do in Spanish. In Spanish, since I don't have that many books, I'm going to include extra stories, poems, and essays as an extra thank you to everyone who supported me all these years, and because I don't have as many books in Spanish. Right. So it's also an added value of me saying thank you and showing that I can write in Spanish. And because I have ideas and other stuff that makes sense to include in this collection. I'm always working on something. I always have a poetry collection, a short story collection. Something's always running, but I found some ideas that I was like, it would be perfect for this one because of this. Because I speak about being bilingual, because I have a character that is Hispanic and is stateside, because it's a poem about the beauty of the Spanish language. And I'm always going to say that Spanish is a more beautiful language and English is an endlessly more malleable language. So in terms of the richness from each language and what I love from each comes in different ways. And I love both. And people say, if you're from Puerto Rico, why are you writing so much in English? And I'm like, just because I feel comfortable speaking and writing in English. That's why I do it. That doesn't negate my Puerto Ricanness or my love for the island, my country, or our culture, or anything. And now that I have a body of work, I feel more comfortable leveraging Latino characters and more stuff like that. I already included a little bit, but it's not that it's going to be heavy-handed and you're going to see someone that talks like this. But reading other stories with Hispanic characters that are just so two-dimensional and cliche, I feel the need to bring something of the people that I've met from Spain, Colombia, Ecuador, Honduras, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and all the places that speak Spanish, because it's not a monolith, and it's worth exploring.
Nice. By the way, everybody, that little piece next to JD on the right there, that's called the sun. For I know we've all been missing it. So. Lily, Ariel, you guys want to y'all,
but yeah, I want to.
I mean, it's dark here right now. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's like we've been getting rain like crazy. Anyway, sorry.
I want to jump in. I want to be semantic. Yeah. You got the artistic person here, so I'm going to go on semantics. There's a difference between collected editions, which collected editions should always have something special, whether it's a note from the author, new artwork, a bonus story that you're only getting there, like JD has. I have that. My Santini family collection is out in ebook, and it does have a special story, but it's not a special edition. The special edition's not out yet. That's a collected edition. A special edition does have all the bells and whistles. That's what makes it special. That's when you get a separate cover. That's when you get different interior, dust certificates, art, page art. That's the difference. And that's why when we say we have a special edition, it's usually just in print. Special editions are print. Collected editions could be in print or ebook. And again, yes, they must contain something else. Otherwise, you are not giving the reader any value except for a discount where you might actually earn less. You need to give the reader something to come back to and to want that collected edition more. Whereas with a special edition, not only do you need, something different on the inside, you do need all of this. That's the line between special edition and collected edition. And again, collected edition is very, very important for the author's arsenal. I love them. I buy them. But yeah, special edition, that's when you get the bells and whistles and you have a special launch for them, or you only sell them at signings, depending on what your preference is. So I'm going to say that special editions these days are almost necessary because readers are still looking for something like that. They want something different. They want something pretty. They want something tangible. But special editions and collected editions, you can actually have a collected edition, like I do, of the same thing that is in your special edition. What makes it special is the difference in print.
Okay.
So I don't want to make it seem like, I'm criticizing but that's where the difference lies. That's where you get, there's a very fine line that gets drawn in what readers are looking for.
And I think too, especially at least, when I started doing my special edition, because that's another thing and Lily kind of touched on it. And I know a lot of authors tend to do this where they will run Kickstarters or they will run big projects to fund print runs, right? So when I started with my special edition, I had several different types of, formats. It came in a paperback. It came in a paperback with gold foil. It came in a hardback without gold foil. It came with a hardback with gold foil. I had several tiers of it. And I noticed too that, after I had successfully run the Kickstarter and had all the print copies, that I was able to take them and sell them directly, like was mentioned, at like conventions and things like that. And through doing that, I learned that there were still more things that people wanted to see. One of my conventions I went to this year, actually, I had the special edition with gold foil, didn't have any colored edges or anything on it. It has gorgeous interior formatting, comes with, beautiful artwork and all of that. But I missed out on a sale because I didn't have colored edges. So whenever I came home, I went into the idea of like, well, can I maybe make an updated special edition, with colored edges, or maybe add some other things. So I think there is always, like, kind of like Lily said, there's this tangibility to it that people want all these bells and whistles. They want all these different exclusivity things. And that's how I ended up with a special edition now that has hand colored edges, which I definitely talk about, that it is a hand colored edge, not a sprayed edge. I do them myself. So I always tell people, if they get a smudge here or there, it's a smudge of love, because it reminds you that I did it. So I do. And people seem to like that. They like knowing that it wasn't just, me who wrote the book, but that I touched the edges of the pages too. So I think there is definitely, when you're talking about special editions and what you include in them, my special edition is an omnibus. It's, both books in one. Yeah. But there's also an exclusive prequel that goes to it that's separate. That is a direct only special edition of itself too, because it's not on a platform at all. It's just a direct only edition of a story that exists, that the only way you can get it is, directly through me, or if you were a person in the Kickstarter. So I think there is definitely, when you're talking about what you're including to make it a special edition, and that's always kind of evolving too.
Okay. Two things about that. For people who prefer colored edges over gold edges, get bent. I mean, and the other thing is, it would be funny, Ariel, if you had the smudges on the orgasm pages.
Yes.
So it would be a smudgegasm. I like it.
I like it.
Right.
I like it.
Let me read this to everybody so we can clarify what we're talking about here. Okay. Collected edition specifically refers to combining multiple parts into one package, like a board game's expansions or book issues, while special edition describes a more luxurious and unique version with premium materials, unique artwork, or exclusive extras to increase its collectible value.
Yeah.
In practice, special editions often have a limited number of copies, which is key factor in their value, while a collected edition may run unlimited. So. Mm-hmm. Right. So Lily was right on with that. I appreciate that. I was just reaffirming, Lily. I wasn't mansplaining.
No, I know. Yeah, no, you were summing up. That works. Yeah, because some people don't know. I get a lot of people who ask me, because now I have a formatting package on Partners in Crime that is for special editions. They're like, what's the difference? What if I wanted you to just do if there's a big difference. There's a big difference. It's still a lot of work to format a collected edition. Like, I'm sure JD put in a ton of work formatting his collected editions. Those are a lot of work, but it's still very different than formatting a paperback special edition, making sure the sizes are right. And then you have to go, and get the end pages designed if you do it, or sprayed, which that's even more difficult. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I also think they all both honor the same spirit, right? They honor the spirit of the reader, right? They are basically giving the reader an opportunity to have a condensed version of everything that they love about JD's work, because I personally love three of those poetry books that he has. They're three of my all-time favorites.
The other two suck.
The other ones I haven't fully absorbed. They're read.
No.
Yeah, I won't say any of them suck, because that's not right. So to have that book is really, really nice to have, because then I can go to the poems that I love. But I could do that. I have the other books too, so I have both versions. So it's easy to as a fan, it just makes it just nice to have that. It just feels like fan service, right? It feels like the author is giving you something because you're a fan, So, and in both cases. JD breaking the fourth wall has a couple questions for you all.
Always.
I don't know if he's going to answer his own questions. That would be interesting. But can you compare the standard version's price and the special edition and what it includes?
Okay, so a standard edition, collected edition, you would put the ebook up typically at $9.99.
From your book. No, from your book.
Oh, just directly from mine. Okay. So just going by, I don't have a hardcover, so just going by the paperback. The paperback, I undercharged for this one, but the paperback is $15.99 for a regular edition. And the special edition, which is this cover, only the sprayed edges, the interior, was $35.
Okay.
And it also, of course, cost quite a different amount to make. I did do my own cover for this as well, but usually most people will get someone else to do their covers. And when you have to think about like the cost going into it, so take home is about the same. Readers, you just pay more to cover the cost of production. Okay. And they understand that typically.
Okay.
And your edges are sprayed, right? Correct?
Yes. Yeah, these are sprayed. These are done through Book Vault. I did the design, and then Blue Raven Book Covers, who I work through and I recommend clients to, they put the file together, and then he submitted.
Blue Raven is kind of cornering the market these days with that stuff. So yeah.
She does amazing work.
Okay. In Ariel?
Yeah. So my standard editions, they're actually a duet. So you can get both of, the original duet. They're very small. They're novellas. So I believe they're on Amazon, I think now for maybe $15. A lot of times at conventions, I would sell these as like a $20 set. So whenever I went and did the special edition, I combined both of these into a hardcover bound edition. So it's a little bit, you get both books in one with the extra formatting and stuff like that. And the same person that did work on the original books has worked on the entire series. So, and instead of putting an extra story in here, I just created a separate paperback. Do I have it with me is the question. Yes, I do. I created the separate paperback, which was Melodies in the Manor. So it was an exclusive book that you could get with it. So you can't get this on any platform. So that was an additional cost for me. But the special edition itself, which is both of the books in one, and again, Lily said, when you're getting stuff formatted and there's a lot of cost that goes into the covers and stuff like that, for this particular special edition, it's like $75. But based on, from the original two books that you can pick up, for either like $15-$20 versus a big hardcover bound edition with all the bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. So, and then of course, when you're doing Kickstarter and things and, crowdfunding platforms like that, you're building some of that in there. You're building that into your tiers, into what you're offering. And that's a lot different than when you're doing it outside of a platform like Kickstarter and you're just doing a special edition run that you're doing by yourself. That's a big difference. So
does the $75 one include the artwork that you had done for it?
Mm-hmm. The $75 special edition that I sell now directly includes two 5x7 pieces of spicy artwork, the 6x9 vellum overlay of the spicy artwork, and it comes with all the special edition swag that comes with it too.
It's gorgeous, y'all. If you haven't seen the artwork, it's fucking incredible.
I always tell people I would get banned if I show you the artwork, but I promise you it's worth it.
Yeah, we would be demonetized for that. So please don't show the.
But I promise it's worth it. It's all hand drawn too. The artists that I commissioned are amazing. So
and you run right into JD's question, Ariel. So I'll start with you with the second question JD had, which is how daunting is it to organize a Kickstarter? The $1 million question, right?
I think the first time you do it, it is very daunting because it's a lot of moving parts that you don't really necessarily know until you do it, which is why I pushed it off as long as I did, because I was afraid that I wouldn't make anything. I was afraid that nobody would back my Kickstarter. I severely underestimated that I had an audience. And then the other thing too is with Kickstarter is its own audience. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Most of my backers that came into Kickstarter were from Kickstarter. They weren't necessarily from my audience. And people who back Kickstarter projects, they're going there to back that exclusivity. They want that special, that's those special features. So that's what they're there for. I think for me, I spanned it out of the course of a year, not just so that I could learn, but budget wise. So because a lot of it, I think what is most stressful for a lot of authors is the upfront cost of being able to, get everything formatted, get your covers, because people want to be able to see the stuff before you even launch it, to build that buzz or build those pre-launch followers. So I think the first time you do it is a little daunting because you're really trying to figure out how all the parts move and how it all goes together. But once you've done it, you can kind of know and you can kind of get a better feel for it. Like the current projects that I'm working on right now are limited editions, and they're not as intense as the Monsters of Ashwood was. I kind of went overboard with the Monsters of Ashwood because I didn't know I would be doing another Kickstarter. So I kind of went overboard. And but again, that Kickstarter itself was a thank you to the fans. So I wanted to make sure that there was stuff there that they felt like they were being appreciated, because I really was thanking them for making it my big series. So I do think it is a little bit daunting at first, but once you get through that first one, it's a lot less stressful.
I've been on several panels with Orna Ross, and also been to panels that she's been on. She is the go-to person when it comes to talking about Kickstarter. So if you're ever at conventions and you see Orna's name, definitely go to that panel, because she gets all the questions at the end of the Q&As. I mean, like, constantly. Authors are always asking her, because it's the same idea. Everybody's so afraid of Kickstarter. She says the exact same thing that you say, Ariel, which is, you got to look at it as they're not your readership. They are a different audience. People on Kickstarter are on Kickstarter to do what Kickstarter does, which is, collect things, put special things out there to support independent authors and independents and everybody. And she, everybody who's on Kickstarter, she says that authoring is probably the greatest return of all the returns on Kickstarter, sans comic book creators. Comic book creators outsell everybody 3-1. She says that, but authors are gaining ground. She says every time that they do the numbers, authors tend to get higher and higher percentages of completed, of successful campaigns. And so that I just wanted to throw that in there, because I've seen her talk so many times, and she says the same thing over and over again, because I'm watching the panels that she's on, and it's the same question every time, and so she constantly has to say the same stuff. But if you ever see Orna Ross on a panel, you definitely you gotta go see that panel. I don't care where you're at, but I'm sorry, Lily. I know I jumped ahead of you, so I apologize. But
no, that's okay. I'm actually going to say something a bit similar, but first, I actually did the opposite of what Ariel did. When I did my first Kickstarter, I did a very plain edition, but this was Kickstarter only. This is only available in ebook to my newsletter subscribers initially. It's the prequel to my Paranormal Detective series. So when I wanted to dip my toe into Kickstarter, I'm like, I'm going to do something that is going to cost me less than $50 to produce, just to see what I can do and how it's set up, so I get a feel for it myself. So again, I read Russell's book. I read Anthea Sharp's book. She has a group called Kickstarter for Authors. I highly recommend joining that if you want to. Yeah, I know, Ariel. I know you're in there too, and I know, yeah. So I did this, and I earned a $250 profit almost in a day. It funded immediately. So that was how, and then I worked my way up, figuring it out. It was not difficult. It can be time-consuming. But once you have read the books, once you have joined the group, once you have observed how other authors specifically run their Kickstarters, it's not difficult whatsoever. And again, listening to the experts, like Joe was just saying, there's another person to add to the arsenal. Listening to the experts, it does help. These people do know what they're talking about. They're not just writing books, excuse my language, for shits and giggles. They know what they're doing. And so that's how you can go from something plain and tiny when you're trying to figure yourself out to, gigantic ribbons and dust jackets and all of that stuff. And it's not difficult. Like I said, the biggest thing is figuring out your budget and then figuring out, the budgeting. I spent so much more on this next one compared to what I did for Stakeout. It's actually kind of insane because I have hand-drawn art for that one that's coming up. But yeah, your budget and your time. You need to figure out your timeline. You need to test the printer. You need to make sure that the books come to you properly. You need to make sure when your Kickstarter ends that it's a few months later, just in case there are hiccups, because you don't know. You are not in control of every aspect when you're running a Kickstarter. The behind the scenes stuff. The printer is in control of a lot. So there are so many tiny little minute things that you don't think about when you don't have to deal with for a regular book launch.
Yeah, I had that issue with mine where it was after it had ended and I was trying to get certain things printed, and I had a heck of a time with one of my printers trying to get the gold foil bookmarks done, and it delayed us a month or two because I kept fighting with the printers. So, until I finally decided to say, cancel my order, I'm going with somebody else and we're going to try to, but that offset my budget too, because I wasn't planning on having to go with somebody else. So there is always hiccups, whether you think there will be or not. So yeah,
there will be hiccups.
Yeah, it's always going to be hiccups.
Yeah, mine actually had an embedding issue. Some of the fonts weren't embedded, so the drop caps were a different font than I wanted, and no one could figure out what was going on. I even went through BookFile. They analyzed the file. They're like, it says it's here. I analyzed the file. I've been formatting for years and years. It said it was there. So and they actually wound up sending me a set, covered with a coupon, because they're like, we don't know what's going on. And I finally re-downloaded it, deleted, redid everything, resubmitted it, and then it worked. So it was something on my software's end. I haven't used that software since.
And you will not be recommending it.
But too, the nice thing about Kickstarter and I can't speak for other platforms because I haven't been on other platforms. I've just used Kickstarter, but I think it would be kind of similar on the other ones. A lot of them who are on there to back those projects and get those collectibles, they'll get that exclusivity, they're used to delays. Yeah. So they're used to things taking a while to print. So that is something that I think doesn't get brought up a lot. Is a lot of times when people want to do Kickstarters or they want to do crowdfunding things, they think everything has to be immediate, and it doesn't. You can take your time with it. The people that are going there to back those projects are familiar with that. There are people on Kickstarter. I know I've backed projects that it took them 2 years to get them out. So, it does happen sometimes. And most of the time, as long as you're keeping everyone updated that, hey, when I was going through my issue with the bookmarks, I was like, guys, I can't control this. They're not printing my bookmarks. So as long as you keep things updated and everybody knows what's going on, I think most people are okay with those delays or those hiccups. So
then it becomes shared trauma.
Messages from things
when you do stretch goals, sometimes if you hit that mark, I'm going for my first stretch goal, where if I hit a certain level of funding above, I am going to add in a new 2-page 6x9 spread of NSFW art. I already have the artist, on the line ready, but it's going to take a while. So I already have that in the risk section. I already have that in the return section. So I know if I hit that, I have plenty of time to get it and then reformat it, send it into the book, get the swag printed out. And that's something you don't realize sometimes when you're doing your first one. And you have to realize from watching other people's and from seeing how their backers behave and how their campaigns behave.
I still get messages from Kickstarters I sponsored a year or 2 years ago about this is taking a delay. This is that. So yeah, it's very common. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll explore. I saw your question, Sean. We'll explore that on the other side of the break. But we're going to take a little break here and do the Indie Connection. Going old school today. No, Rebecca, for people who remember that. None of us were alive when it published. So, including myself. So enjoy that, and we'll be right back with more talk and bless me. There you go.
Hey guys, C.O. Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. And today I'd like to tell you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. The first book I have for you is called The House of Lost Wives by Rebecca Hardy. Secrets, Lies, and 4 Missing Wives. 1813. Lizzie's beloved older sister Esme is sold in marriage to the aging Lord Bluntford to settle their father's debts. 1 year later, Esme is dead, and Lizzie is sent to take her place as Lord Bluntford's next wife. Arriving at Ambletime Manor, Lizzie uncovers a twisted web of secrets, not least that she is to be the 5th mistress of this house. Marissa, Anne, Pansy, Esme. What happened to the 4 wives who came before her? In possession of a unique gift, only Lizzie can hear their stories, and try to find a way to save herself from sharing the same fate. The second book I have for you is called Parting the Veil by Paulette Kennedy. Some houses hold secrets that are meant to be kept forever. When Eliza Sullivan inherits an estate from a recently deceased aunt, she leaves behind a grievous and guilt-ridden past in New Orleans for rural England and a fresh start. Eliza arrives at her new home and finds herself falling for the mysterious Lord of Havenwood, Malcolm Winfield. Despite the sinister rumors that surround him, Eliza is drawn to his melancholy charm and his crumbling, once beautiful mansion. With enough love, she thinks, both man and manor could be repaired. Not long into their marriage, Eliza fears that she should have listened to the locals. There's something terribly wrong at Havenwood Manor. Forbidden rooms, ghostly whispers in the shadows, strangely guarded servants, and Malcolm's threatening moods, as changeable as night and day. As Eliza delves deeper into Malcolm's troubling history, the dark secrets she unearths gain a frightening power. Has she married a man or a monster? For Eliza, uncovering the truth will either save her or destroy her. The third book I have for you is called The Haunting of Whitehall Manor by L.V. Pyers. 33-year-old Anne Towery is a woman who knows little about herself and even less about her family. Sent away from Whitehall Manor when she was only 10 years old, Anne struggles to make sense of her life. When she receives an urgent phone call from Dr. Cornish informing her that her mother, Seraphine, has gone missing, Anne returns to her childhood home in an attempt to figure out what went wrong. Arriving at Whitehall Manor changes everything for Anne. The longer she stays, the more immersed she becomes in the haunting beauty of the Marigold Garden. When she finds Seraphine's journal, she is shocked as page after page reveals bone-chilling confessions, including a retelling of the night her family was changed forever. Unraveling the truth comes with a price, when the true terror of a decades-old family secret threatens to pull Anne deeper into the horror of the Towery family curse. And the last book I have for you is called Dark Desires by Eve Silver. Betrayed by those she trusted, penniless and alone, Darcy Finch is forced to accept a position that no one else dares, as the assistant to a dangerously attractive Dr. Damien Cole. Ignoring the whispered warnings and rumors that he's a man to fear, she takes her position in his eerie estate, where she quickly discovers that nothing is as it seems, least of all her handsome and brooding employer. As Darcy struggles with her fierce attraction to Damien, she must also deal with the blood, the disappearances, and the murders. With her options dwindling and time running out, Darcy must rely on her instincts as she confronts the man she is falling in love with. Is he innocent? Or is he a remorseless killer who prowls the East End streets? Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on the Indie Connection. Bye!
As always, we're very grateful to CL Cannon for that wonderful, wonderful Indie Connection. Keep it tuned in here. We've got JD just left us. Now we're down to 3 of us. Here he comes. He's coming back in. There he is. Hey, and he went right to his spot too. Great. I'm getting lucky. Hey, I should go get a lottery ticket. All right. Yeah.
Tech is behaving with you, Mr. Compton.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, that being said, thank you to CL Cannon for that, and she's gonna go through the rest of the year, everybody. So we got more books for you to check out and more things to compare to. A.O. Mengo said the Kickstarter is beyond my skill set. It really isn't. It really isn't, Andy. I think you would actually thrive on Kickstarter, to be honest with you. Sean Hillman, I'm planning a special edition that's answering Sean's question of Tales of TARDIS novels, complete with editor's notes. And then here is Sean's question for you all, and we'll kind of end on this note here. Do any of you have a book that you want to do a new edition, like Stephen King and The Stand? And if I may, I'll answer first because this is kind of geared toward me a little bit. My original trilogy, or it's a duality or a duology at this point, but trilogy eventually. My publisher is gone, wiped off the face of the earth, and so I have like a hardcover version of the book you're looking at right now out there on Amazon, and then we have the Audible version of the first book available on Amazon. But I was in the process when they went under of rewriting because so here's the story. The first book I wrote was not intended to ever be anything but a solo novel. I was never intending on writing a sequel. I was never intending on writing a trilogy. And then I went to event after event after event after event, and finally just got wore down by humans who were like, "Where's the second book? Why don't you should have a sequel?" Because it do ended on a cliffhanger, sort of. I thought I had wrapped it up, but then people pointed out, well, you really didn't wrap up this part of it. I'm like, okay. So I wrote the second book. That was how I got the publishing contract from my small press publisher. Was I wrote the second book for them, which is the cover you see next to me. And then we realized to do the third book, because the third book is going to kind of go back to the first book a little bit. I don't have any tie-ins between the three. So I was going to just, silly me, thought a book I wrote 15 years ago, could just go back and insert two extra chapters to tie in the second book and then one extra chapter in the second book to tie into the third book. Well, what I was finding, and as JD mentioned earlier about, not giving me a 5-star review, part of the reason why I don't get 5-star reviews is because the editing on my book was fucking atrocious, and I will admit that tenfold. It's my first book. I had no idea what I was doing. And so rereading that, I know it's atrocious. I'm rereading it, and I'm going through it, and I'm going, I am such a better writer than I was 15 years ago. So, okay, I'm going to rewrite this whole entire thing. And then we started talking about, well, what if you move this chapter over here and this and it just became this puzzle piece. It's like if you took a completed puzzle, you shook it up like real fast, and all the pieces went everywhere, and you're going through the sofa to find one little piece because you're missing a piece. That's what this became, and it's been a nightmare. And so,
and the sofa had another puzzle set, and you're like,
a couple things in there. Yeah, a couple things I don't ever want to go back into the sofa for. So eventually the 3 books will come together and come out, probably right about the time I die, but right there. But yeah, so that's the whole thing for me in terms of that. But that's what happened when I started to fiddle with something I shouldn't have been fiddling with. Should just let it go and said, screw you all. You don't get a third book. You don't get a second book. But I was trying to adhere to my readership, and part of the thing is I wrote a crime thriller, and what I discovered in doing my own research is that Germany loves crime thrillers. So I went to Germany, and I got hooked up with a publisher there with my book. We talked about translating it. We didn't translate it. We went in with the English version, and I actually was on the bestseller list. Like literally talking about Stephen King, his name was 2 rungs above mine. And I have a screenshot of my name right under Stephen King's in German.
Yeah, people love the Joe. They want more of the content. Give them.
That was my 15 minutes. It lasted about 2 weeks on the charts, and then I disappeared. Part of which is because I didn't go to a book festival I should have gone to. Anyway, all that beside. But that's the twisted tale of my books, and that's why I think special editions, if you're going to re-release something, just do something that has nothing to do with the actual spine of the book. Just because once you start tinkering with it, you'll never stop. We all, everybody here can attest that they're a better writer than when they wrote that book, and also that we're perfectionists and we've never been happy with a certain part of it, and we just figure this is the time to fix it. Don't do that. Trust me, don't do that. You'll never come back. We'll never see you again. I promise you.
Or you mean like when I had to get my special edition re-edited because there were typos that people were bringing up, and then I was putting in, so I had to like not just fix the first 2 books, but I had to fix the special edition formatting. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to re-edit almost all of mine after leaving my first publisher, and that editor actually is no longer working in the business at all, even though the people from the publishing company were. But when I do the Coven Princess, I have a YA fantasy called the Coven series, and Joe's heard this before. I've talked about this when it came to Killing Your Darlings, and I was just discussing this a couple of weeks ago with another author friend. The initial copy of the Coven Princess was 184,000 words. I cut it down to 100,000 words. Some of those 84,000 went into book 2, and there's still roughly 30,000 words that are just out there in the ether with nothing, because it had an entirely different ending, so that can never be shared. But there are a couple of bonus scenes that I would love to have in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to re-put the whole book out because, it's book 1 in the series. It would be weird to re-put out just one, but not the rest. So when I do my special edition, it's going to get some bonus scenes. Like, these were cut from the original. This is the only place you're ever going to read them. And so I'm excited for that. But at the same time, if I'd known it was originally supposed to be a standalone, if I'd known it was going to be part of a series, I would have actually just taken the whole book, only removed the last 2 chapters, and then cut it in half and published 6 books instead of 5. But I didn't know it was going to be a series at the time. So I performed a shit ton of surgery on it. And now I have these scenes just sitting there that one of them is honestly one of my best emotional work. And I don't compliment myself often. One of my best work. And it's like, yeah, it's getting out there somewhere. Somebody's got to have this.
Oh, the scenes I wrote for my special editions are awesome. I love them. But yeah, once I started plugging them in, we just started fiddling with it and never stopped. It just never stopped. So
yeah. That was exactly what would happen if I ever actually fiddled with the Coven Princess. It would be a whole mess. No. I know better by now.
Okay, so how do you gauge interest, or should you just get over yourself and do it?
Oh, get over yourself and do it. Kickstarter, like Ariel's saying, Kickstarter has its own platform. There's its own people on there. Get over yourself and put your book out there. I don't care if you're a debut author, if you've written 1 million books, just do it.
And I've seen people, I have friends who, were intimidated by Kickstarter, and I was too, before I started doing it. And so I have friends who were like, I don't know if I should do, and we're talking back and forth, and they just launched their campaign and they made more than they thought they were going to make on just a paperback version of like something that they were like, I'm just going to try this. And I was like, go for it, and it worked out. So I think as long as you go into it, especially your first one, if you go into it willing to learn and willing to talk to other people and just kind of like, just accept that it's not going to be perfect because it's your first one, you will be surprised at how good it does.
And if it fails, it fails. At least you tried,
Yeah.
Plenty of Kickstarters don't make funding and people just go back, do it again, have a different plan for doing ads and stuff. Yeah, if you fail, it's not the end of the world. You can always.
In fact, I think in some respects it's helpful because then you'll learn from that mistake and you'll figure out what you did wrong, and then the fear of doing Kickstarter will be gone because you've already failed. What else could happen? Kickstarter's not gonna come to your house and kill you.
I fussed about like the budget, because you have to set like, your budget, and they always tell you to set it low, that like the bar is the floor, so that like once you like go over that, it's easier to go over that. It's easier to hit if it's lower. And I kept fussing about that because I was like, well, what if I don't fund? What if I don't, and it's like, if you don't fund it, you just like they said, you just kind of start over from, like, it's not going to go against you. So I worried that I wasn't going to fund, and I funded my project in under an hour. So, you just kind of never know. You just got to go into it and just kind of be like open to learning and open to seeing how it goes, and just accept it's not going to be perfect. But once you go through it, you learn and So.
What is perfect though? All of you. You all were perfect for this panel. Thank you so much for being here and talking about it. Let's go through the Go Indie Now minute and tell everybody what's happening on Go Indie Now this week, and then we've got some more fun for you with our panelists. So hang tight. But this week, starting tomorrow, really, I know a lot of you watch this after the fact and everything like that. but I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the best episodes of 21 Grams we've ever had. My guest is Cameron Mitchell. He is a genius with a camera. He is to me the eye of all eyes I've ever seen. He's a DP master. He cinematographer extraordinaire. He did a documentary that follows his family for 25 years. They through a period of time, he has disabled parents, and they go to Auschwitz and visit the camps, the Jewish camps that were the prisoner camps and everything like that, and the torture areas, and they go through this incredible journey as a family together. It is incredible documentary, and it also is very informative about disabled what happened to disabled people during this time period, because it wasn't just Jewish people that were discriminated against by Hitler and the Nazi regime. The disabled community was the actually most hit community amongst all of the people that they ostracized in Germany. And he goes through all that. We're going to talk in depth about that darkness and that the evil, and just being in that presence. It's going to be an amazing conversation. I guarantee it. Cameron's always very articulate and very cool about everything. And so you're really going to really learn a lot. If you're a history person, definitely want to see this one. It's Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Cameron Mitchell. It's going to be awesome. And then on Tuesday, another awesome show we have is First Time for Everything, where Juliet Rose interviews people about their first times. I think every single person has been on that show that's here. And if not, we need to get you on there. But First Time for Everything, her guest is Doug Lawrence, who is kind of a mentoring coach guru. It's going to be another great conversation there. So you want to enjoy that. And that happens on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, First Time for Everything. And then sometime during the week, myself, Brian Tan, and John Hartness sat down and we reviewed Queen of the Ring for our Working in the Indies, a movie about one of the very first female wrestlers who ruled the independent scene for 20 years. It's an incredible, it's a film done by Emily Bet Ricards, who you might know from Arrow. She's the star of the film. And we talk in depth about that film and everything about that history of the NWA on Working the Indies. That's going to happen. And then I'm going to release a Touch of Indies episode where I go over, I have 3 albums that I want to talk about. And I don't want to write out every single thing about them. And they're a little bit older through the year. So, and then I'm going to also review The Baltimoreans, a movie by the Duplass brothers, in that Touch of Indie episode as well. That'll come out this week. And then on Saturday, myself and Brian Tan will be back for another Saving the Seat. We have 2 new independent films, and then a movie that he subjugated me to that stars Mark Hamill with a porn stash called The Guyver.
Lord!
If you haven't seen that, you're going to enjoy that conversation and my utter just bewilderment of this movie, because I had never seen it until we decided to watch this. So
it's rough.
oh wait, there's a lot to talk about there. But yeah, so, and then we have 2 new independent films that we're reviewing on Saturday afternoon. So go check that out. That's what we've got going on. So there you go. And then, so now let's hit the epilogue and talk a little bit about some books that are coming out or are out. I'm going to start with you, Lily, and you can talk about Stakeout. Tell everybody a little bit about Stakeout if you want to read the blurb. This some things that people have said about this incredible book, and I couldn't agree more with a lot of what was being said here. As you can see, these are actual reviews from the Amazon page. I pulled them out. So yeah, read along as Lily tells you about Stakeout.
Thank you. Like, I was reading the reviews. I want to start by saying Stakeout is the first book in an 8-book series. It also spawned multiple spin-off standalones, and it's also connected to the world of Paige Papillon and Paranormal Mysteries and the Coven series. So if you like big, interconnected Stephen King-ish worlds with strong, plus-size goth female characters, you are going to love this. Here's the blurb. Enter the underworld of Chicago. Join Detective Danny Mancini as he discovers the things that go bump in the night exist, and he's on their radar. His only hope to get revenge and not become a vampire's dinner? Join the Paranormal Investigative Division of the FBI. Angelica Cross is a woman who doesn't take no for an answer, and through her persuasion, she gets Danny prepared to face down an ancient evil. But she has her own reasons for wanting the vamp dead, and they might tear apart the tenuous relationship she and Danny are building. Can they save Chicago, get revenge for countless deaths, as well as accept each other exactly as they are? Or will centuries-old wounds create a chasm too deep to survive?
Awesome. The QR code is up there in the upper left-hand corner for everybody to go click on that book. You've got about 10 seconds to do so get to it. Go get that awesome book, Stakeout by Lily Lucchese. It is awesome. You'll really enjoy it. I promise. I guarantee it. All right. Next up, we've got the Rent Me series and Noah, which is coming out very, very soon. If you can get it right now, pre-order. Is it pre-order or is it actually out? Because I thought I could buy it right now.
So, Rent Me Noah is coming out on the 24th. It is a follow-up to Jacob, which is already out.
Yes,
so,
and I should mention because there are no reviews for Noah because it hasn't published yet.
Mm-hmm.
These reviews were from the Jacob page. So all of these reviews you see here were actually on the Jacob page. So yes, that's how deep a research and how much dedicated I am to this process, y'all. Ariel's awesome. Anyway, we didn't need these reviews to tell you that. But that being said, Ariel, you want to read the blurb to Noah for us?
Yes. A man with a heart of gold, a woman with no time for love, a game of secrets and desire. The last thing I expect after a nasty breakup is to fall headfirst into a client with benefits situation with Bella. When she finds me nursing my wounds, she takes me home like a stray kitten. Then there's Chris, Bella's hot neighbor that I find myself playing more than just video games with, which wouldn't be a problem if we weren't both straight. Can I fight the flames between Bella and I while fanning sparks with Chris? Or will this love between us end in game over once the smoke clears?
Ooh, very spicy. All right. It's upper left-hand corner. 3, 2, 1. Enjoy. Go get it. Please go get it. And, it sounds pretty awesome. So everybody go check that out. And then last but certainly not ever least, the one and only J.D. Estrada. And I will admit I took some of these reviews from the very first Sherbert Store collection and one from this collection. But this is Daydreams on the Sherbert Shore by the one and only J.D. Estrada. I've read both of these books. They are fucking awesome. They are crazy, weird shit that only J.D. Estrada's mind can come up with. Trust me. And they're fantastic. And Mr. Estrada, you want to read the blurb for us?
Yes, I do. So, have you ever wondered what dreams are made of? Well, if you ask anyone who has visited the Sherbet Shore, they might answer that dreams are made of honey, cotton candy, tea, and other wonderful things. They wouldn't be wrong. Take a break from reality and step into the world of Drayam to learn firsthand how dreams can bring us together, no matter where or when we live. Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore are short story collections for those people who grew up with Saturday cartoons and like their stories self-contained, whimsical, and wildly unpredictable.
Awesome. Top left-hand corner, everybody. Go get Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore. Go do it now while you can. And that's our epilogue. And once again, Stakeout right there. Go get it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rent Me, Noah. Go get it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Daydreams on the Sherber Shore. Go get it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just so you know, just in case you're not with the new way we do things, the links are still in the description too, so you can go ahead and click on the links. You
Click
coward.
like and subscribe.
You should all use the QR codes because I pay for that fucking service and I want you all to do that. But no, I'm just kidding. It's all good. You do whatever you do. You do you, boo. You do everything you want to do, and you're good. However you want to do it. As long as you get these books, that's all that matters, right, Steven? That's right. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for another great This Week in Indies. Thank you to my panelists. Let's have everybody go around and say where they're at and where they can find you, just in case people don't even want to click on the links. They just want to find you somewhere. So Ariel, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
You can find me at www.ariel.com. If you are interested in my special editions, you can find them on TikTok Shop, where I am at. And then you can also find me on pretty much all your socials and pretty much everywhere you buy books or talk about books. I'm literally everywhere. And you can always find me here, too, on Go Indie Now. So.
Awesome. JD?
Easy. At JD Estrada. If I'm on the platform, that's how you're going to find me. I'm not going to give you links. I'm going to make you look for me. In terms of bookstores, yeah, you can go to the usual suspects, or you can check out Puerto Rico independent libraries and shop local and support small businesses. And you're going to make me and you're going to make a small business happy.
Nice. And we should mention too that you're back online, so you're doing taste tests again and everything like that. All the things you do that everybody loves. So.
And I do have a Substack, and I've been active on that, and it's been nice to get me back in the rhythm of writing.
Is it under JD Estrada?
It's under JD Estrada, but it's under organic creativity because everyone's so obsessed with AI that I just had to write something against that.
So everybody go subscribe to his Substack as well and do that. And are we gonna is Bananas gonna come out of retirement possibly?
He's rearing to go, but I'm just getting my ducks in a row, and I have to get that organized. But Double O Bananas will make a return, and he will make a tropical triumphant return.
Okay, we'll talk later. All right. Lily, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
You can find me at the little link down there. Oh, I actually did it right the first time at lilyluchesi.com. That will take you to my books, which all of them are on Amazon. All of them are on Kindle Unlimited, because while we hate the billionaires and we hate the corporate, Amazon is the cheapest way and the easiest way to get my books to you readers globally. If you are in Georgia, you can find my S.L. Sinclair books at the shop Shelf Love. They're an indie romance bookstore, so please show all of your indie stores as much love as possible. For social media, again, Lily Lucchesi everywhere. You can find all of the links on the website. I have just started my TikTok a month ago, and I post random reader, author, or editor snippets there as well. And if you're an author and you need your book formatted for Kickstarter, since that is what we're talking about, I do offer that service. So you can also find me at Partners in Crime Book Services on Facebook or on PayHip, and let's start talking. I'd love to help you make your Kickstarter dreams a reality.
Are you taking clients on for full edits right now?
I am. I'm currently completely booked until mid to end of January, but for most of 2026, I have flexible dates right now. So yes, I am currently taking editing and proofreading clients, everything from developmental all the way down.
Yeah.
You're talking to one of the best in the business, everybody. So definitely check that out. So
thank you.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I'm Joe Compton. This is Go Indie Now. You found us. Congratulations. We try to stay hidden from you, but you found us anyway. But really appreciate that. And while you're here, you might as well like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Do all the wonderful things you do to get more informed. You saw what we're doing this week, so definitely want to be. If you want to see any of those, getting the bell notification and subscribing is the best way to do that, because you'll get messages from me, annoying messages from me saying, "Hey, come join my live." So, that's the way it goes, and I hope that you do that, and I hope that you remember that it's always time to go indie now, and we'll see you again soon, everybody. Bye.